all of my books fell. Awesome. Off to a great good night, Danielle. Already sweating, Jesus.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do the mid-year book freakout tag because it's already mid-July, and if I wait any longer, it's going to be too late in the year to do it. If you're not familiar with the tag, this is essentially, I have a list of questions here, and it's essentially a good check-in to see how the first 6 months of the year has been going for you and for your reading, what you've liked, what you've disliked, disappointments, surprises, etc. So let's just get into it. The first question is the best book you've read so far in 2023. I went back and forth about this a little bit, but I just kept coming back to this one, Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen me rave about this already. This book broke my heart. So first of all, I love Greek mythology retellings, and I know that Madeline Miller, I would argue, is probably the author that's the most well-known for Greek retellings because of Song of Achilles and Circe. But I read this, I pulled this from my TBR jar, which is a series that I do where I think a lot of people are doing it this year. It was not my idea, but you know, where you have a jar filled with all of your physical books that you own that you haven't read, pull randomly, and it helps you get through it. So I pulled this 2 months ago, I think. So for those of you who may not know the story of Ariadne, she was the princess of Crete, according to the myth, and she was the daughter of King Minos. And King Minos had a wife who was essentially tricked into having certain relations with a bull, and through that, the Minotaur was created and born. So the Minotaur is her half-brother. Minos, in order to keep him away, he builds this huge labyrinth underneath the castle, and he has the people of Crete sacrifice their children like once a month or something like that. I don't remember the exact time frame or cadence. And so he's a monster. He's terrifying. And Prince Theseus comes and woos Ariadne. Ariadne then helps him enter the labyrinth to kill the Minotaur. That is the story. So when I went into this, I thought that this whole book would be that. Just the story. That's all I knew of Ariadne. No. That all happens within like this much of the book, give or take. So the rest of it, I was like, what? Like, we have so much of the book left. And this story, it just blew me away. It was beautiful. It was tragic. I mean, it is based off of ancient Greek mythology, so it's going to be pretty heartbreaking. And I just truly loved Jennifer Saint's writing. I love her style. I want to read her other books. I know one is Electra and the other one is, oh gosh, Atalanta. That's what it is. This just blew me away. If you like Greek mythology, if you liked Madeline Miller books, I would highly recommend this. Just prepare to be sad and maybe a little bit rageful. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2023. When I was looking back in my Goodreads to see what I've read this year, I was pretty surprised. I haven't read a whole ton of sequels this year. I've read a lot of either beginnings of series or just standalones. But I did pick one, and that is In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. This is the second book in the Lovelight Farms series. And I don't really want to, I can't really tell you much about it because I think, although you technically can read them out of order, I recommend always, when it comes to anthological romances, I always recommend you just read them in order if you can. But this follows Evelyn and Beckett. It's just, it was so good. It was so cute. Beckett is definitely more of a gruff, grumpy farmhand, and Evelyn is this like glamorous social media influencer. And I just loved them together. And like, if Beckett is my type, okay, Beckett is my type. And it was just, it was wonderful. I can't wait to read the next book in this series, which I believe is coming out this year. And it's just, again, it's a good feel-good romance book. So I really enjoyed this one. Okay, question 3 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. Where do I start? There's a lot, but I think for this one, I'm gonna go with A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. Also, I know I keep pointing in the air. I have no idea where these like covers are actually going to go. So, but yeah, A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. I read Priory of the Orange Tree a couple years ago. Much like most of the people who read it, I loved it. And I love Samantha Shannon as an author. She's one of my favorites. And so I have this. I'm not going to go get it because it's buried in my other shelf. But I'm going to read it. I want to get to it. It will happen. This is a prequel to Priory of the Orange Tree. And I believe it takes place several hundred years before the events of Priory of the Orange Tree. So I'm very excited and I will get to it. And I've heard it's incredible. So I just need to do it. We'll get there. Okay, question number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. There are definitely a few, but the one that keeps coming back to my mind is Bone Shops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. I read Legends and Lattes this year, which is actually going to be a part of this list, and you'll see it in a second. And it was just wonderful. So this is taking place, I believe, 10 years before the events of Legends and Lattes, and we are following Viv elsewhere, and she's in a bookshop this time. I'm so excited. I'm very pumped. I can't wait. It comes out in October. It's gonna be the perfect fall, cozy read. I can't wait. Number 5, biggest disappointment. So I've had a few this year that I could have used for this question. I've had a few pretty disappointing reads, but I figure let's go big or go home. So before y'all come at me, and if you follow me on either TikTok or Instagram, you probably have seen my review of this. I go into much more detail about it. The amount of hype around this book has been insane. It's honestly baffling and a bit mind-boggling to me. I had never heard of this author before this. And the amount of like social media influencer marketing around this. Also, this is a brand new, from what I understand, this publisher is also new. So I'm like, I have a lot of questions about that. This book had everything that I thought I would love. It has dragons, it has an academy setting, competition, all that stuff, but it just didn't do it for me. It was kind of disappointing. I felt like there was nothing really original in this. Not to say that makes a good book and everything's been done already, right? So my camera stopped recording and I had finished the rest of the video not knowing. So we're gonna try this again. As I was saying, Fourth Wing, I just feel like I've read the character of Xaden a million times at this point in other books. It's not super original. I thought the character of Violet was fine, but she didn't really stick with me. I also just felt like the way that she writes antagonists and like the villain characters were super cheesy and corny and not believable and just very two-dimensional. The pacing was very odd to me. And then the whole like dragon horny thing made me feel uncomfy. So yeah, I liked it though. I think I rated it like 3.5 stars. And I will be reading book 2 because it definitely ended on a huge cliffhanger, but I'm a little confused as to why this is getting as much hype as it has. Number 6 is the biggest surprise, and I could have gone in several directions with this, but I decided to switch it up a bit, and I am choosing What Lies Between Us by John Mars for this question. This book took me 4 to 5 business days to recover from. This was the most wild ride I can't recall the last time I have felt this way during a reading experience. I feel like with mysteries and thrillers, it can be really hard to be surprised just because everything's been done nowadays, you know? No matter how hard the author is trying to mislead you. This, from page 1, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And it just keeps getting wilder and wilder, and by the end of it, I was like, what did I just read? But like in a good way. If you can, I'd recommend going into this as blind as possible. The least you know, the better. What I can tell you is that this is a dual POV psychological thriller. about a mother and a daughter who live in the same house. The daughter is an adult. She's like almost 40, and the mother is in her 60s. And this also flip-flops back in time. And you know something's not quite right with their relationship, but you don't really know what that is until it starts to slowly be revealed to you and hop back and forth in time, like I said. Wild experience. I want to read more of his books. This was insane. Highly recommend. It's a lot of fun. Okay, here we are again. My camera died. So much fun. How do y'all do this? I don't know. We're gonna keep chugging right along and hopefully I can get through this video before my camera dies again. Let's see. We were on number 7, favorite new author. Most definitely this goes to Sarah Hashem, who's the author of The Jessid Heir. This comes out this month, July of 2023, and this is the start to a new fantasy series. This is based in Egyptian lore. It's slow burn enemies to lovers. There's a really cool magic system. We follow a girl named Sylvia who is the lost Jessid heir, and she has powers, but she's the powers are bound by circlets and bracelets on her wrist. And everybody else in the country are all trying to assassinate the existing Jessids throughout the kingdom. But she is recruited and blackmailed into the recruitment by Aaron, who is the prince of the Nizal, I think that's how you pronounce it, the Nizal kingdom, and she has to be forced to enter a tournament. And it's so good. I love Sarah's writing style. I think that she's super smart and witty. She knows how to tell an engaging narrative, and I'm really excited for the rest of this series. I gave this 5 stars. Number 8, newest fictional crush. I don't feel like I get a lot of fictional crushes easily. Like I don't like obsess over characters all that much, but, and this might be cheating a little bit, but Ben in Guarded Treasure, this is by May Lovett. May and I are actually mutuals on TikTok, and this is her book. It's self-published, and this is very much inspired by The Mummy. Ben in this is obviously just like Rick in The Mummy, and I'm obsessed with him. I mean, who doesn't love a treasure hunting barbarian, essentially? He's amazing. This also has one of the, I love their banter throughout this and their relationship. And this has an amazing steamy scene. So I definitely recommend checking this out if you like The Mummy. Number 9, newest favorite character. I'm sorry, I have to do a repeat. Sylvia in The Jessid Heir is my new obsession. I love her. She's so funny. She's fierce. She's also an unreliable narrator, honestly, and I love that. And she's powerful and just loves to make her captors miserable in the most petty ways, and it's hilarious. So I'm obsessed with her. Definitely a new favorite character all time. Number 10, a book that made you cry. Once again, I don't really cry with books. Like, I just don't get emotional genuinely in that way. But, and I almost did Ariadne again, but I decided to go with Kai K. I hope I'm saying that right. Another debut author by Vaishnavi Patel. I hope I'm saying that right. This is based on an ancient Indian woman. I think it is Indian mythology, I'm pretty sure. I don't think this was like a real person, or they can't, if she is. I'm not sure the real story, but essentially what this author has done, she has taken this very well-known tale, turned it on its head, and this is a beautiful saga about Kai K. She is the third wife of the ruler within this kingdom, and the story goes that she was portrayed as this very vindictive, petty, bitter woman who banished the rightful heir, the first son of the first wife, and banished him out of the kingdom to make way for her son. The way that Patel decides to tell this story is we really empathize with Kai K. We realize why she felt like she had to do it. And it really kind of gives you a glimpse. This book and Ariadne both also just kind of give you a glimpse of what life must have been like in ancient times for a woman. And my heart broke for her. And this was it was beautiful, but it was really sad. But such a great book. So I recommend this one too. I recommend all of these for the most part. Next is a book that made you happy. Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I told you it would be featured. A lot of my friends had read this and said how cute it was. And I did go into it a little bit hesitant just because I was like, sounds kind of corny. This book was precious. I loved it. We are following an orc named Viv who is tired of the pillaging, rampaging, murdering life, and she just wants to move to a small town and open a coffee shop. But the problem is that nobody in that town knows what coffee is. They've never heard of it before. This is a found family story. There's a little bit of a romance, and it's just the best, most precious, feel-good story, and I loved it. It made me very happy. Number 12, the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. A Day of Fallen Night is definitely up there in the running. I think that cover is beautiful, but I also want to point out and shout out The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I don't want to feel like going to go get it because it's like buried under a bunch of books right now. But there's something about this book that's gorgeous, and I don't even know a lot about it. I just know that it's fantasy and it takes place in a library. Say less. I'm in. I'm sold. Number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? All of them? There are so many I need to read and need to get to before the end of this year. I don't even know where to start. I have a few rereads I want to do. I have so many books in my physical TBR I want to do. I'm a part of a book club, so I'll need to make sure I'm staying on top of those books. So many. It's never ending. I will never not have a million books that I need and want to read. Okay, that is it. That was the tag. Hopefully I was able to finish it before my camera died. But thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I mentioned today. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.